Well-Trained Mind Press presents In the Reign of Terror, written by G.A. Henty, read by Jim Weiss.
Chapter 1. A Journey to France. I don't know what to say, my dear. Why, surely, James, you are not thinking for a moment of letting him go? Well, I don't know. Yes, I am certainly thinking of it, though I haven't at all made up my mind. There are advantages and disadvantages. Oh, but it is such a long way, and to live among those French people who have been doing such dreadful things, attacking the Bastille and passing all sorts of revolutionary laws, and holding their king and queen almost as prisoners in Paris. Well, they won't eat him, my dear. The French Assembly, or the National Assembly, or whatever it ought to be called, has certainly been passing laws limiting the power of the king and abolishing many of the rights and privileges of the nobility and clergy. But you must remember that the condition of the vast body of the French nation has been terrible. We have long conquered our liberties, and indeed never even in the height of the feudal system were the mass of the English people more enslaved as have been the peasants of France. We must not be surprised, therefore, if, in their newly recovered freedom, they push matters to an excess at first. But all this will right itself, and no doubt a constitutional form of government, somewhat similar to our own, will be established. But all this is no reason against Harry's going out there. You don't suppose that the French people are going to fly at the throats of the nobility? Why, even in the heat of the Civil War here, there was no instance of any personal wrong being done to the families of those engaged in the struggle, and in only 2 or 3 cases after repeated risings were any, even of the leaders, executed. No, Harry will be just as safe there as he would be here. As to the distance, it's nothing like so far as if he went to India, for example. I don't see any great chance of his setting the Thames on fire at home. His school report is always the same: conduct fair, progress in study moderate, which means, as I take it, that he just scrapes along. That's it, isn't it, Harry? Yes, Father, I think so. You see, everyone cannot be at the top of the form. That's a very true observation, my boy. It is clear that if there are 20 boys in a class, 19 fathers have to be disappointed. Still, of course, one would like to be the father who is not disappointed. I stick to my work, the boy said, but there are always fellows who seem to know just the right words without taking any trouble about it. It comes to them, I suppose. What do you say to this idea yourself, Harry? I don't know, sir. And I don't know. At any rate, we will sleep upon it. I am clear that the offer is not to be lightly rejected. Dr. Sandwith was a doctor in Chelsea. Chelsea in the year 1790 was a very different place to Chelsea of the present day. It was a pretty suburban hamlet, and was indeed a very fashionable quarter. Here many of the nobility and personages connected with the court had their houses, and broad country fields and lanes separated it from the stir and din of London. Dr. Sandwith had a good practice, but he had also a large family. Harry was at Westminster, going backwards and forwards across the fields to school. So far he had evinced no predilection for any special career. He was a sturdy, well-built lad of some 16 years old. He was, as his father said, not likely to set the Thames on fire in any way. He was as undistinguished in the various sports popular among boys in those days as he was in his lessons. He was as good as the average, but no better, had fought some tough fights with boys of his own age, and had shown endurance rather than brilliancy. In the ordinary course of things, he would probably in 3 or 4 years' time have chosen some profession, and indeed his father had already settled in his mind that the best thing would be to obtain for him a commission in His Majesty's service, as to which, with the doctor's connection among people of influence, there would not be any difficulty. He had, however, said nothing.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?